Batman! Today we're talking about Batman, The Long Halloween. Is it worth it? Let's find out. Batman The Long Halloween came out, ladies and gentlemen, not too long ago on 4K, Blu-ray, disc, and digital. And Batman The Long Halloween is one of the best Batman DC stories ever created. And by the creative team of Jeff Loeb and Tim Sale, we have Batman The Long Halloween, the story of how Gotham City's criminals went from criminals to freaks. And now we see that all in Batman The Longest Halloween, the animated movie, which is broken down into two parts. Part 2 coming later this summer in August. But breaking news, fans of the geekdom and of Batman, looks like we're getting a follow-up comic to Batman The Long Halloween coming out this October, just in time for Halloween, October 12th, I believe it is. And this is going to be a 48-page special book reuniting the team of Jeff Loeb and Tim Sale once again. And as a follow-up to The Long Halloween. Now, for those of you who are not familiar with The Long Halloween, this is early on in Batman's career. This is even before he became the world's greatest detective. Batman is hunting down the criminal element in Gotham City. And of course, he hasn't reached the psychological level of detective work yet, where he's totally immersed and becomes eventually the world's greatest detective. So this is not this Batman, it's still early on. And it finds Batman in kind of like a cat and mouse. I always love these types of movies, guys. Like a cat and mouse game. There's a serial killer in Gotham who goes by the name of the Holiday Killer. And like his name, he only strikes on holidays. So the movie, the time, frame of this film, it takes place over the course of 12 months. From one Halloween to the next Halloween. We're gonna see it when it comes in August. But Batman just doesn't know who the killer is. And I've seen the film twice already. And while I'm not a big fan of the animation style, the direction they chose to animate this film, since I'm a big lover of the original DC animated movie timeline, including and prior to the Apocalypse War. I really like that fluid type of animation, and for me this one felt a little bit stiff, a little bit getting used to, but by the middle of the movie already, I was already hooked into the style of the way they drew it. I thought that was alright, but the storytelling aspect of it and the intro credits showing the iconic book, okay? And I've owned this book. I have to get another copy or a reprint of this book. I think it got lost in the move, but I remember reading the original book and being totally blown away at who the actual killer was, who we don't know, because this is a part 1, okay? We still have part 2 to go. But just seeing the whole interactive trinity of Gordon, of course Harvey Dent, the DA, the Commissioner, and Batman trying to bring down the Gotham underworld and finding out that there is a killer who is committing these murders against organized crime families, and they want to find out who it is. It's just such a delight. It's just such like an exploration into the psychology of how Batman transforms from just being a vigilante, sort of a brawler, just a brawler vigilante, to actually going into cases. Like keeping a case file, making a list of possible suspects and trying to track down the common thread that the murderers have. And the common thread is that they're all organized crime. And the double backstory of Bruce Wayne having to deal with the fact that his father, Thomas, actually, it's really so interesting. The fact that we're talking about immigrants coming to a new world, right? Because his father, Thomas Wayne, of course, was an immigrant from somewhere, okay? Immigrants, organized family, not the Maronis, but I believe it's the Falcone crime family. Yeah, I believe it was the Falcone crime family who was friends with Carl Falcone. Was it Carl Falcone? I believe it was. The Falcones! Okay, well, anyway, the whole backstory, the whole way the movie was done, it just feels like a like a True Detective, right? Like a season of True Detective. But the way they did it in the movie was great. And if you're a fan of the book, you're gonna love the movie. Highly suggested, highly recommended. This Long Halloween was great. I got the Best Buy Steelbook. You know me, I'm a sucker for these kinds of things. And of course it has the artwork with the Joker on one side, and of course Batman on the other with the Joker. You have, of course, Catwoman. You have, of course, Arkham Asylum. Batman, is trying to go through every detail of who the killer is. And the movie, it ends with such a note, it leaves you wanting more. The only downside, I would say, of having this movie is like when you finish it, you immediately want to watch part 2 to see what's gonna happen next. It just leaves you like, Bruce, who is the killer? Is it the son of Falcone? Is it the Joker who escaped Arkham? Like, who is it? Who is the one that's killing all of these, taking out organized crime gangster families? Is it Harvey Dent? We don't know. And we also have an appearance in the movie of the Calendar Man, who Batman goes to in Arkham Asylum, and you see this wonderful scene where Batman and the Commissioner Gordon are walking through the asylum, and you see all of Batman's biggest villains in the asylum, and the fact that Harvey Dent, the DA, was responsible for putting most of these criminals instead of to regular jail where they should go. He petitioned them to be rehabilitated at Arkham, and you see how Batman was totally against that. That wasn't his decision. But as he's walking through Arkham, it's kind of like, maybe you should be in Arkham too. Like, all of you guys are like crazy or whatever. We're gonna see something big, and I don't want to spoil it because I know how it turns out because I've read the book, but it's such an exciting time right now because the fact that the movie's doing so well that the original creators of the original The Long Halloween comic will be coming out with the 48-page special. That's something that I'm gonna run to my comic shop. Big shout out to Midtown Comics and all the comic shops in New York City, of course, but I'm gonna run to you guys and I'm gonna grab that 48 page special that comes out October 12th as the follow-up to this Long Halloween, because there's still secrets. Gotham is full of secrets. Gotham is full of underground crime families and all of this great stuff. And remember, guys, this is before Two-Face. So that's how you know it's still early on in Batman's career, because Harvey Dent has not become Two-Face. And this is not the animated series kind of origin story of how he became Two-Face. But this is just great stuff all around, guys. Strong recommendations for Batman The Long Halloween Part 1 if you can find it. Eventually, I'm sure they might throw out a 2-pack. I'm not sure, but with something like this, Part 1, they know what they're doing. They should have released it as a 2-pack. But we're gonna have to wait till August. I'm like, man, I'm counting the days. And stay tuned for that review, because we're definitely gonna have them side by side. Part 1 and the conclusion later this summer. Part 2, Batman The Long Halloween Part 2, where it is finally revealed who the holiday killer really is. That's such a great villain, such a great antagonist for the Batman. The holiday killer. He only strikes on holidays. So once he strikes, he's gone until the next until the next event, and Batman has to stay in his cave brooding and looking over the files to see which one it is, and then before the holiday takes place, he has to be looking all around like, who's gonna be the next target? I mean, we already had the Maronis, we already had some members of, I believe, the Yakuza that were also murdered. And this guy's just striking everywhere and at every crime family. So who is it? You know, the Joker came out in the movie. It's like, it's not me, but somebody is cleaning up the... somebody is kind of like trying to be the best. And for the Joker, he won't have that. The Joker, he feels that he is the #1 killer. So if someone's trying to imitate him, he's gonna break out of Arkham to see who it is. But this whole thing was crazy. Maybe it could still be the Joker. Who knows? I mean, I think I know who it is. I don't know if they're gonna go the same route of the book. I'm pretty sure they are. But if they're gonna go the same route of the book, I know who it is. But I'm not gonna spoil it for any of you guys who haven't seen it. So definitely get this one. It's a keeper. I'm just... for the geek thumb, guys! The movie was really, really good. And it's been a while, you know, and you know, the Batman is coming out, but that's gonna be, I believe, in 2022. I'm your host, OC, and if you like our video, make sure to hit that like, subscribe, and hit those notifications for more Batman! Ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-ba-ba-ba.